Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in that little blue collar backcountry.
Welcome to Blue Collar Backcountry, a channel about hiking, backpacking, gear reviews, and foolishness.
Been a while since I've been on the tube, hasn't it? Man, we just had a lot going on. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, man, I got a special little unboxing I'm going to do today. And before I start out, let me show you a couple of my newest stickers for my banner. First off, we got a new one here from Lost Girl Hikes. Isn't that a cool little sticker? A little die cut. I like that. And right up here, we got the famous Kentucky Woodsman. He also sent me this one a good while back. And up there at the top, we got Carolina Chris. Oh, you don't know how bad I wished I'd had the empty Spam can to have taped up there on that banner instead. Anyway, man, y'all check them out if you hadn't already, and I know most of you have. Alright, let's get to this unboxing. Alright, so what do we got in this big box? We've got a box full of fun right here is what we've got. I guarantee you. We've got the Motobecane, which I guess is how it's pronounced. Nobody seems to know. I've seen this name butchered up so many times it's pathetic. But it's a Motobecane fat bike. Y'all seen the fat bikes yet? I know all the cyclists have. And this is the Motobecane Boris FS NX1. Box full of fun right here, buddy. So there it is, Boris FS NX1 in matte gray color. Now the 1, that's going to stand for the single chain ring because this has got the 1x11 gear set in it. NX because it's got the Shimano NX gear set in it. FS because I'm fat and slow, I guess. I have no idea what the FS is. It's certainly not full suspension because it's a hardtail. Boris, maybe off of Boris and Natasha from Rocky and Bullwinkle. I don't know. Hey, but if you do know what the FS stands for, leave it down below in the comments. I'd really like to know. You can see I just ordered this on the 26th. I waited till Saturday to do my unboxing instead of trying to do it during the week. And then I wake up this morning and I check YouTube videos and what's happened? First thing, smelling roses. He's got a video out about a co-op mountain bike he got through REI. Must be something in the water. I hadn't ridden in about 6 years. My last bike was a 29-inch giant Talon. And that was a lot of fun. But these fat bikes, oh man, fat and slow, buddy. Let's get this thing out of the box and look at it. This box had a few issues with it when FedEx dropped it off. Some scuffs and tears and stuff, so I did open it up already to look inside to make sure everything was okay, but I haven't actually pulled it out of the box yet, so let's take a look. Oh yeah, that sounds like Joseph Russell, doesn't it? Oh yeah. One word of advice though, if you don't have a place to work on your bike, don't be tempted to cut the cardboard box up so you can use the box to lay it on. Because if you have any issues with your bike, you're going to need that box in case you have to send it back to Bikes Direct. And that's who I got this one from. Let's see what we got here. Alright, we've got a little box of some kind of accessories or something. This baby's packaged up pretty good. Oh yeah. Then we got our seat. And our owner's manual. Now I'll go ahead and be honest with you right off the bat. These owner manuals they send you, I don't know who puts them out. It's a very generic, no-name manual. It has nothing to do with the assembly on this thing. Their manuals are just about more or less safety and a few tips, so that's pretty much junk. We're gonna get rid of that right off the bat. And then as you can see, we've got Panda Racer Fat Be Nimble tires. We've got 160 millimeter Shimano discs, and that is a Shimano hydraulic disc brake. We'll try those Panda Racer tires out and see how they work where I ride. They may work out pretty good and not have to upgrade right off. Anyway, let's start taking her apart. You can see she's put together pretty good and protected. Alright, I think we can put it on the bike stand now. So let's get all the protective foam and wrap and everything off of it. Let's actually get this bike put together. off, you can see we got a nice, very nice paint job. They did a good job of protecting it during shipping. All right, and our little box that came in there with it, before we go too far, we're going to open that up and see exactly what that is, so we don't have to go back and redo something. All right, so what have we got? We've got a set of white rim strips in case you don't like the red that came with it. We're probably not going to use those. We're definitely not going to use those. Looks like we have an extra derailleur hanger, which is pretty nice. And we've got a set of flat pedals. And what we got here? VP, those are VP components. It's a decent sized set of flat pedals. No metal pins, it's just something that's kind of molded into it. That may be an upgrade later, we'll see. And then just looks like a RockShox sticker. Probably some safety information. One zip tie. Let's get going. The first thing I want to do is get these handlebars mounted up here to the stem so we don't have all this just kind of hanging everywhere. And for that we're going to need a 4mm Allen wrench. Now we get our clamp screwed back in place. All right, if you notice that little emblem, we're going to center that right there in the hole on that riser clamp, or that stem clamp. And I'm not going to get these super tight right now. I'm just going to get them kind of snug down pretty good. We'll tighten it all up later once we're sure we got everything like we want it. Now we'll be installing our front Shimano hydraulic brake caliper. We have a long screw in the top, short screw in the bottom. We've got this spacer. This spacer will tell you up. And this is going to be a 5mm Allen wrench. And we're going to run this down and just snug it. We're not going to get it real tight yet. Now you see this orange piece right here? You want to hang on to this, but this is going to come out. Alright, and what that is to keep you from accidentally hitting your brake lever and collapsing the brake pads. If that's the case, you have to compress the piston again and get it opening wide enough to get your disc back in there. Alright, now we can pull this little plastic stand off of our axle. That helps kind of stand the bike up. We'll take the axle out and we'll get ready to put our tire in. Alright. Alright, now carefully, we're going to put our front tire on. And you want to be sure to get that disc lined up right between your disc pads. Now we can get our axle in. Alright, right there you can see where our rotor is right in between our pads. Okay, now we're going to tighten our axle up, and you can see it says it torques 9 to 13.5 Newton meters. It does take a 6mm Allen wrench. Alright, and that's pretty snug. It's not super tight, but that's pretty snug. Alright, now we've got our front wheel on, we got to do something with that front hydraulic brake hose, don't we? And this is where we're going to route it to, is right here. And that little deal is going to take a 2.5mm Allen wrench. And once you get your screw out of it, just stick a screwdriver in there, separate it a little bit, pop it on right over your cable. Now you can bring it around, place it in your fork, put your screw back in. Now our cable should be out of the way pretty nice. Alright. Routing the brake hose to the bottom of your top tube, they give you these little plastic clips. That's supposed to go right around your brake hose, and then that'll clip into that little spot on the frame. You got one goes here, but I'm going to be quite honest with you, like a lot of other people, I'm not feeling that too good, so we're going to take that back off and we're going to use plastic zip ties. Now, temporarily, I'm just going to take the stem and tighten it a little bit because that comes loose for shipping. And once we get it down off the stand, then we'll kind of get that squared up with our front wheel. This is just kind of keep it from moving around on us. That stem is also a VP Components. Alright, it's time to put some pedals on. And this may be an upgrade coming up soon. I like race face flat pedals. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to pop those off. And the reason they have these reflectors on here, that's a DOT thing, you know. I don't want stuff rattling around on my bike. If I had some anti-seize, it would be great, but I don't. So you don't, when you put these on, we're just not going to like over torque the heck out of them. They don't have to be over torqued by any means. Anti-seize would kind of keep the threads from galting up into that crank, the crank arm, and I'm just getting a little snug. That's it, just a little snug. There's our pedal. Now we got it together. Let's check that back brake and see how that's looking. Sounds good. I don't hear any rubbing. Let's see what happens when we apply a little brake. Alright, let's spin the wheel some more. Alright, that sounds good. No rubbing at all. And that one was already set from the factory. No adjustment needed. Okay, if you remember, our front caliper just came loose. So we're probably going to have to do a little adjustment on that. Let's spin it and see what it does. Oh yeah, that's pretty noisy. You hear that? It's dragging on that brake disc. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 5mm Allen wrench. We're going to loosen those up because all we did was just snug them. And we're going to get those nice and loose. We want that caliper where it'll kind of float around there a little bit. Alright, see how that's floating around there? Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and apply that front brake. Okay, now you see we've got the front brake locked in. Alright, now we're going to tighten that caliper down right there. We're going to try it and see if that eliminates that rub on that disc. I'm holding in on the brake lever now. Alright, let's give it a spin and see what that sounds like. Oh yeah, you hear that? Perfect. Perfect. Alright. Shimano hydraulic disc ready to go. This is all personal preference, but the next thing that's got to go for me is these stinking reflectors, man. I don't want reflectors rattling around all over my bike. And that's just going to take a simple Phillips screwdriver. The RockShox Bluto forks on this bike are 120mm of travel, and all the information to set them up is right here. Now you want about 15 to 20% of sag, and that's even with a motorcycle on dirt bikes and stuff, and they make it pretty easy. What we're going to do is going to take this ring, slide this ring all the way down to the dust cap on the forks. Okay, and then you can see on that gauge it shows you your percentages. Now, if we look back here behind this frame tube, that gives you the amount of air pressure according to the weight of the rider, and it looks like I'm going to need about 120 pounds of air. Okay, you can see on top of your fork tube on the left side of the crown, you've got an air cap right here. We're going to unscrew that air cap, and there's a Schrader valve underneath where we can add the air to our shock. But you do have to have a shock pump for this. If you've got air suspension forks on the front of your bike, you've got to have a shock pump. If you don't, that's like having shoes and no shoelaces or a helmet with no strap. You've got to be able to adjust that air pressure. We're going to take our shock pump and screw it onto that Schrader valve. And as you saw by that chart on the fork that it showed for my weight, which I'm around 185 to 190, it depends on what Michelle's cooking. And I want to be at 120 pounds. From the factory it comes with about 75 pounds, so let's go ahead and jack it up a little bit. 110, almost there. 120 right there. That's close enough to 120. Alright, we're going to lose just a little bit, just about maybe a pound or two when we unscrew it. And we're good to go. We'll put our cap back on. So we've got our forks set where we want them, at 120 pounds. At the top of the fork tube on the right side of your crown, there's going to be your adjustment for dampening. And you've got 5 adjustments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's all the way locked out, and you want it all the way locked out like to stiffen up your forks for hill climbing or whatever. Now you've got 5 clicks to adjust that compression on that dampening. All the way counterclockwise, you're going to get the cushy ride. Underneath the bottom tube of your right side fork is going to be your rebound adjustment. And rebound adjustment is just purely up to personal preference. And that's just something you're going to have to play with, whether you want a fast rebound or a slow rebound, depending on what type of riding that you're doing. Alright, y'all remember that red rubber O-ring I showed you, where you can adjust your sag? That's what we're going to do now. We've got 120 pounds of air in our forks. That's our starting point. Now, what we're going to do is sit on the bike. You should have all your gear on and everything, but I'm not that aggressive of a rider, so I'm not going to worry about it. Sit on your bike in your normal riding position, and we're going to see where the bike settles at. And we'll check that O-ring, see what our percentage is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my back brake. Get on the bike. I'm going to let off that brake. And I'm going to sit in my normal riding position. I'm going to get that brake again. I'm going to get off the bike. And I didn't move very much at all. We're going to have to let some more air out. Alright y'all, there it is. There's my fun in a box. And I've got my forks adjusted with the right air pressure. You can see I'm at 20% of sag on the 120 millimeter mark there. Wound up with 95 pounds of air in it instead of 120 like they said. On the RockShox Bluto, hydroformed aluminum frame, SRAM NX crank, SRAM NX derailleur, 11-speed cassette, Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, WTB speed saddle, wilderness trail bikes. Now you know. We will wind up putting a dropper seat post on here, and I'll probably put some race face pedals on it. Pan Racer Fat Be Nimble tires. This baby is ready for fun. Okay, one more thing. I know somebody's going to ask, so we're going to weigh it and see what it weighs, because that's what the first thing everybody wants to know about your mountain bike. What does that weigh? You got to bear in mind, fat tire. Let's try it and see. Well, it's no lightweight, but that's still not bad. 36 pounds, 15 ounces, right at 37 pounds. In case you're interested, this is what it took to put together my Motobecane fat bike. It comes almost completely assembled, but I used a 2.5 millimeter to route my front brake hose. I used a 4, 5, 6 millimeter Allen wrench. This is a cone wrench, it's not a pedal wrench, but it's a 15 millimeter end that I used to put my pedals on. Of course, my shock pump up my forks. A pair of dikes just to cut the zip ties off of it, get the packaging off of it, and I used a Phillips screwdriver just to take the reflectors off. So you can move these out of the way. my air gauge, set my pressure on my tires. I did set them at 8 pounds. And anyway, so basically that's it right there. That's what it took to put together my Motobecane. Hey everybody, I sure appreciate y'all stopping in. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I've been on an old tube, but maybe we'll get back on there a little bit more now. And thanks for watching me open up my box of fun. Y'all be watching. I'm going to leave a link below for Smelling Roses when he showed his new co-op mountain bike by REI this morning, and I hope y'all will watch that. And stay tuned. Man, maybe we're going to have some fun.